Alright guys, today I want to discuss something that is absolutely putrid, disgusting, despicable, but that happens to so many of us throughout our lives. And this is something that happens in America, on the border. This is something that happens to us wherever we may be in the world. This is something that I'm going to talk about that happened to me in Milan, of all places. I was young back then, and I was not so old that I could go into the naughty clubs, but I was old enough that I was allowed to walk the streets at night after going to parties with my friends. And again, I was not legal, if you will. I was strong at the time. I was a lean, green fighting machine with an orange afro. Fun. But anyway, that kind of thing apparently brought on the wrong kind of clientele, if you will. So as I was on the way back home, and I used to live very close to the American consulate. And in the same building, they had a radio station. But I hadn't gotten all the way there, right? I had gotten somewhere between the Duomo and the American consulate. There's like an archway. And right before getting to this archway, where the road, basically what's on the floor changes from one kind of stone to another kind of stone, I was I was approached by a very strange dude. Again, we won't go into the details of what he looked like, because I probably wouldn't be able to, it's a long time ago. I'm like 40s. I'm in my 40s now. Wouldn't be able to recognize him in a lineup. But anyway, he says he complimented my hair, and then he asked me if I wanted to be a model and to follow him to his abode. Again, as a super, easygoing person, but also super gullible, unfortunately, and easy to sway individual at that young age. But luckily still very paranoid, which meant that I looked him up and down, checked if he had any bulges, if there were weapons on him, and then I decided to follow him into his abode. Now we went up a flight of stairs to his home, wherever that was. And that's when the disgusting thing happened. We went inside to his house, and again, my paranoia made me very hyper-focused on what was going on inside the house. I was looking around to see if there were other people, if I was in real danger or not. And once I was sure that I was not, I entered the building. In his house, he sent me to look towards where there was this little table. And on the table, to my surprise, I found some strange stuff. You would call it naughty stuff, but in paper form. Because back then, yes, sure, there was a lot of stuff on the internet, but people were still mostly about the paper stuff. So I look at this thing and I'm looking, this is kind of strange. I was brought in for modeling, but why are there all these strange looking, mostly naked men on the cover of this thing? So I turn around and I go to him, and at one point he goes, "Stand here." So I stand there, and he pulls down my pants. He doesn't pull down my underwear, just my pants. And I start thinking, what the heck is going on? The next thing I know, he takes a whiff of my crotch, and like a Joe Obama smelling the babies or women's hair kind of thing. Takes a good strong whiff of my crotch. Obviously nothing going on down there, right? There's nothing going on down there, obviously, for me, and I'm very perplexed. So I just stand there and I keep looking at him. And at one point, He stands back up, and then he has me walk to a computer where he has me write down my name, my last name, and my email. And luckily, because I was paranoid, my name and last name did not coincide with my email address, which was a fortunate thing as well. But anyway, after that, me obviously still not knowing what's going on, thinking that this is what is, normal, I guess, for if you want to be if you want to be a model, apparently this is what's supposed to happen to everybody. So I thought nothing of it. Super gullible, super stupid. I think I probably shook his hand, and basically after that I departed and went on to live my life, and so on and so forth. So when they ask people why don't the women that get abused, why don't the people that get abused just go after these people? Well, because I was still unaware of what was going on. I went on with my life as if nothing had happened. I didn't even realize what was going on in my life. But obviously, the reason why something like this would even happen was because my father was a very important figure inside of the pharmaceutical industry. So it's so easy that something like the CIA, the DIA, the FBI, or anyone who was against what he was trying to do with his pharmaceutical company would want to have dirt. Would want to have dirt on him, would want to have some kind of material to blackmail on him. Maybe if they could prove that his son was gay, they could do something like that. So these kinds of things are disgusting and despicable. And I'm pretty sure that there was a camera in that location. And if, for instance, I had the urge to do something else because, or that guy had decided to nudge me, right? We talk about nudging. What does the CIA, the FBI, the DIA, whatever, they're allowed to nudge people, right? If you pay off somebody at a company and make somebody fire somebody, which brings on the conditions for which that person eventually ends up losing their wife, their lifestyle, and eventually they kill themselves. Did you really kill them or did you not? If you were standing in front of a building and you were somebody who was not allowed in that building, but somebody comes out of that building with a badge and a uniform and says, why don't you come along inside the building? The concept of entrapment is a serious one, guys. And there is also technology. Again, this is not something that can be proven, but they can implant ideas of suicide in your mind. And if you just kill yourself, there is no evidence, right? There is no evidence that anyone caused any foul play. And yet, if you die, if you kill yourself, right, you fell into the hands of bad actors. The blackmail, all this kind of things. The reason why UAP disclosure is not possible, the reason why we cannot have transparency in America is because these people do these kinds of things to us, and we are too cowardly to step up and get after this in a non-violent fashion. As I always say, always go after these people in a non-violent fashion. But if this kind of thing happened to me, to how many others did this happen, right? And you're going to say, look, why didn't you just go native on that guy? That guy deserved a good old scalping or a Hannibal Lecter kind of thing. Why didn't you just knock him over the head and then the next morning feed him his own banana in a plate? Because I was not even aware that this was happening to me. I still thought I was so gullible, and I still thought that this was normal. This is how the business is done. If you can't handle the truth, you deserve to be a slave. Be ballsy, do something smart. UAP disclosure.